Hello and welcome back to the channel. On today's video, we're going to be talking about driving tension in your shot process and how to properly drive tension. 9 out of 10 times when I have a customer that has a problem with their shot execution, it is typically because they're driving tension, but they're driving it in the wrong direction. And it's such a vague statement to say pull through the shot because there's a lot of different directions that you could pull. So today we're going to talk about how to properly drive and expand through your shot because I feel like in today's media, for the most part, this is poorly covered. So to start, we're going to talk about how most people think about driving tension, and most people would think at full draw to drive tension this way, you know, that way. However, the way that you're supposed to drive tension is actually behind you this way, not behind you that way. So a lot of times what I find, and this is really exaggerated if your draw length is incorrect, is when you get to full draw and you start trying to pull straight behind you, you're gonna hit a wall where you just can't pull anymore, and that's when you start to squeeze the trigger or really try to push real hard with your front bow arm and your pin is going all over the place. And you hit that wall and you just can't expand, but in reality, you can still expand backwards behind you. So what is this doing? This is rotating that shoulder blade and those shoulder muscles and using good back tension to pull through that shot. And as you saw, my elbow came back and down. So as your muscles are contracting and pulling in, you're gonna feel a tension, and as you get back to a certain point, it's gonna bind, and then the only way to keep going back is to come back and down. And that's all gonna happen naturally, and by that time, your shot should have broken. So I will show you guys a proper execution and a poor execution, and we can kind of break that down as well. I will also throw up a video somewhere in here that will kind of show my shot process, and if you watch my elbow, you can kind of see it start slowly working its way across the screen, and then that shot will break and I come back to a good finishing position. So when we're talking about driving tension, and the reason that you don't want to drive it this way is because that's going to create an unstable platform. You're working against your body, and you don't want to work against your body, you want to work with your body. So if we're trying to pull this way, you're going to hit that wall, and then you're going to start to panic because that shot hasn't broke, and that's when you start to get target panic and punching the trigger. Now, target panic can show up in many different ways, and we've covered this in other videos, but this is just one way that it happens when that shot doesn't break on your time frame. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set the camera up behind me and facing towards this target here so that you guys can hopefully see what is going on when I execute a shot properly. And then we'll do one from the side. Okay guys, I'm gonna stand really close to this target just so I can walk you guys through this process. You guys should be able to see my elbow move in a horizontal line across as I'm pulling through and driving tension into my back muscles. So we're gonna get to full draw, anchor, and now I'm gonna start driving that tension. So as you see, with a hinge, it's a little bit different because as I'm driving that tension, my hand is slowly loosening and I'm firing the shot. So now on this next shot, I'm going to use a thumb button. If I have a thumb button set up for my bow. Let me swap this barrel over and then we'll show it with a thumb as well. Okay, now I'm going to show it with a thumb button. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to hook that thumb, and then I'm going to anchor, and I'm just going to start moving my elbow. So again, we're moving that elbow in a horizontal line behind us to build tension onto this trigger. So let's show you what that looks like from the side. Okay, now from the side, we're going to show you what that looks like again. Going to come to anchor. And we're just going to draw that horizontal line until that shot breaks. Now let's show it with a thumb again. And here it is with the thumb. His thumb's set up a little hot, but the principle still applies. We're gonna go back over to the bench and we'll do some closing thoughts here. All right, some closing thoughts here. Next time you're having a shooting session and you might have some left and right flyers, or you don't feel stable as the shot is about to break, this is a good opportunity for you to look at yourself and go, what can I do to become more consistent, more robotic shot to shot? And the easiest way is to just tell yourself to draw that line with your elbow. You just want to draw that horizontal line as you are building tension to fire that shot. A lot of people, when you start to drive this way, like I said earlier in the video, you just hit a wall and then you start to panic because that shot hasn't broke because you haven't built up enough tension. All we do when I get to anchor is I'm just going to start drawing that horizontal line until that shot breaks. And you want to keep consistent, even pressure all the way across. You don't want to speed it up or slow it down, and set your release accordingly. Now, when you guys are first learning this method, I definitely recommend you start up close, because you might find that your release is not as hot as you thought it was when you actually are driving good, solid tension into that trigger mechanism versus what you thought was good, solid tension in that trigger mechanism prior. So I would definitely start up close just to make sure that your release is not too hot, and then take this out to the practice range and let me know how it works for you. But with that being said, that is the end of today's little quick tip video, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace.